welcome to the 40k Fireside podcast, where we discuss everything to do with competitive Warhammer 40k with your hosts Vik VJ and David Gaylord.
Welcome back everyone and good evening. So, the topic for today's video, I wanted to talk about a couple of recent tournaments in the UK, which can give us a really good indicator of where the UK meta is at, and these tournaments were pretty different from one another, and they were played on different terrain formats, so I think that'll give you a really good contrast here. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into it. So the previous weekend, on the 28th, we had the Glasshammer Major, which was a singles event using WTC scoring, and had a bunch of good players attend. So I think it was roughly about 100 to 105 players in total in Birmingham, and it had quite a few good notable people at the top. They had the Roberts brothers, and my teammate Brian, and the Whitakers brothers, and I'm going to butcher this person's name, Enrique Aguirre. Sorry. Then we had Ed Watts and Nassim playing here as well. So a really great bunch of players, and I thought it'd be really interesting to take a look, because I don't think that... I think out of the players I just mentioned, I believe only Nassim and Brian are going to be playing for the WTC. So I'm not sure if Enrique is playing for a team, but if you are, sorry about that. So that maybe give us a leading indicator of some of the meta that's going to be going ahead here potentially as well for WTC. So a bit of insight there. Okay, so first up we had Nathan Roberts taking home the win with Death Guard. Now Nathan has been playing Death Guard for a very long time, and Nathan and I played each other when I was playing Guard against his Death Guard, and he messaged me the other day saying that I was actually the only loss he's ever had on Death Guard, and he's had a 27-1-1 record with it. So he's been playing it for a long time, I think over a year and a half now, and obviously it's his time to shine here. We've got a list that I believe he played at a previous Super Major as well, and I think if you haven't played against Death Guard Mortarian's Hammer, the way that I see it, this Index and Mortarian's Hammer, this is about as stock standard as the list comes, my friend. I mean, you've got 2 Lords of Contagion, a Lord of Virulence, great. They can go with the Death Shot Terminators. Then we've got 2 units of Death Shot Terminators for the Rapid Ingress and 6-inch Charge and Deep Strike. Then you've got the 3 Classico, Feared Bloat Drones, a Hellbrood here for a bit of anti-combat perhaps, 3 Blight Haulers, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, and 2 Boxwalkers for the Infiltrate to get the Contagion on top of that as well. So, I mean, a super strong all-round list. You can see how much stuff you get here with Death Guard right now. You've got 2 units of 3 Terminators. You've got 3 basically Exocrines, but slightly better in some ways. Fielded Bloat Drones. 3 Blight Haulers, which have Melters on them on top of that. And then 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, which have great OC and indirect and can cause mortal wounds as well. So you've got just as much counterpunch as you probably need here with the Hellbrute and 2 units of Terminators. And a ton of shooting with indirect options. And look, I mean, the total unit count you get here is really strong too. You've got 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, 13, 15 units here as well. With a list that's playing effectively 6 hulls plus 3 Blight Haulers on top of that as well, and two Terminators units. So you get a lot here. And yeah, I think Nathan might have done some coverage on Stat Check. I'm going to try and get him on for up to speed with Death Guard, and that'd be great to have him on. And it's great to see him taking the win here. You can see his points. I'm not sure who he played in the final, but getting a 20, 16, 15, 14, and 11. I believe he might have played Nassim in the finals, maybe, which would be a great win as well. Okay, cool. So that was the winning list. I mean, it's Death Guard. It's the best army in the game. There's a couple of different ways to build it at the moment, and that's kind of no surprise, but it's good to see it at the top at the moment. Okay, so a couple of other lists here as well. Now, Josh Roberts' list will be featured in the next page as well, but he was effectively playing Ultramarine Stormlance with Rabute Gilliman, Calgar, 3 Hammer Strikes, and a Storm Raven. He's got a unit of 3 Eradicators in there as well, and it was great to see him play this on WTC terrain here as well, because he's played this list, I believe, at a previous Super Major, the one last month as well, and he'll be playing it in Leeds coming up here again. So obviously Josh, a big believer in the Storm Raven in Stormlance, and it's really interesting to see quite a lot of shooting in Stormlance as well, with the 3 Hammer Strikes there and 2 Ballistic Dreadnoughts on top of that. So I wonder if Josh is maybe going to play some Space Wolves, maybe, and stay with the Stormlands, or maybe he's going to pivot in a different direction. Okay, we have my teammate Brian Sipe playing Thousand Suns as well. He had Magnus, 20 Rubrics, 2 Mutolith Beasts, 3 Zangor Shamans, and a Rhino, and like a unit of Zangors, and all the enhancements. He was playing Grand Coven as well there with Thousand Suns. We had Dan Whitaker also. He was playing Grand Coven, but he had no bow goats and no Zangor Enlightened with bows, and he had no Exalted Sorcerer on disc like Brian did, but he's instead got 25 Rubrics and 2 Rhinos, Magnus, and he's got the +1 to wound damage Demon Prince in there. So opting not to take the Arcane Vortex Infernal Master as you would aptly remember him. Not sure on that one, because I love rolling that guy out, but it's cool to see something a little bit different there. I know people have been experimenting with that combination with the Demon Prince for a long time, and it's great to see Daniel take basically 3, 13, 20, 20, 12, and then 10. So a lot of people drawing at the end bracket here, which makes it an interesting tournament. Okay, last but not least, we had Enrique Aguirre. He was playing almost exactly the same list I played at Battle for Salvation, but he's just updated it with the points. And the update that he's gone with is instead of playing a unit of JPIs, he's playing a unit of Intercessors, which is a great change. And then he's used the points that they've gotten to upgrade a unit of Scouts to Infiltrators. So he gets a Sticky, and then he gets to Scout on his expansion or in the midboard, and then uppy downy them, and the unit of Infiltrators against aforementioned Mortarian's Hammer here. So really cool to see that list as well. Ultramarines Gladius kind of Ultramarines at least featuring twice here, still proving to be extremely strong despite the nerf, which was a nerf, I suppose. But you got more points. You've still got Bobby G and Calgar having a great time. So really interesting to see there. Next up, we've got Ed Watts, who was playing Recon Guard. I mean, Ed loves a bit of a horde skew, so good on him. I mean, that's crazy. I'm going to have to go back and double look at Recon Guard, I think, to be honest with you. I might have to start getting some games with that. And then we've got Nassim, so I really wanted to look at what Nassim was playing. And this is a bit of a crazy list, to be honest with you. He's got Combined Arms, 2 Rogel Dawns, 2 Engine Seers. I mean, you don't really see that. You've got a unit of 20 Krieg, 12 Bulgren, coming in at 200 points for 6 at the moment. He's got 30 Kaskin and 2 Chimeras. I believe he's got a Hellhound and some other stuff in there as well, but a really interesting guard shell there. There's quite a lot of thickness when you think about that. With the 2 Chimeras, Kaskin can maybe fall back, still get access to the firing deck, and then 20 Krieg for the respawn, Kaskin for the respawn, probably Krieg to sit on the expo, and then you've basically got a Hellhound, Chimeras, Bulgren to point down at the opponent's expansion and the midboard table. So a really interesting combined arms list there as well. I expect maybe Nassim is going to be playing something like this at WTC. It'd be interesting to see if he did, because I assume Nassim is probably the best player on Team England right now for this year. And I'm assuming he would probably get some kind of pairing priority. So maybe this could be a guard list to push with. Really interesting build there. So we've got Will Whitaker as our other notable list here I wanted to have a look at. And he was playing Bringers of Flame Sisters. So it's really cool to see Sisters get that little bump up from the previous Battle on Status slate. And they're coming in with some nice points here. Cool, awesome. So a lot of players getting the draws against each other, which is really fascinating because there's quite a few strong players in here. So I believe Josh plays Brian perhaps, and then I guess maybe Dan and Enrique played each other. Nice not to see Thousand Suns too dominant here, which was really interesting as well. Okay, so that was the Glasshammer Major on WTC terrain. Now, hey everyone, quick interlude. Just wanted to mention that we've just had the Combat Masterclass drop on 40k Fireside with Liam VSL. We've had the Space Wolves course, and just released the other day, we've had the Shooting Masterclass with myself, which is a 3-hour course on conquering shooting armies for the 10th edition meta. Alright, you can check it out at the 40k Fireside. Back to the presentation. WTC terrain. Now, looking ahead, we've got the Leeds Super Major, and I believe this is roughly 280 players, as you'll see down here. 1 Deathwatch player, loving it. So I thought what would be good to look at is look at the overall meta picture, because we haven't obviously had the results yet, and take a look at some of the notable players which after scrolling through all the lists kind of stuck out to me, and obviously one of them is my teammate as well. So we can see Death Guard camping in at 10% of the meta. I mean, it's been strong for a long time now, and the UK is definitely a meta where people will just jump onto the best thing. Despite the game being relatively balanced right now compared to previous times in history, people are still moving around to the quote unquote best faction. I mean, there's a lot of people that names that I saw on Death Guard that I didn't think were Death Guard players as well. So it just goes to show you how quickly the meta moves here in the UKTC and how heavily weighted it is towards the perceived best end army. Now, we've got Space Marines Astartes coming at 7%, 19 players there. But let's jump over to Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, because there's been a lot of hype about these armies. So it's interesting to see that between the two of them, 15 and 18 players, we're looking at roughly 11% of the meta. So 33 players total in that, which is higher than Death Guard combined. So, maybe going into round 2, most of those players win. Going into round 3, maybe still most of those players are winning. If you'd be looking at 140, 70 players, potentially 33 out of 70, maybe 28 out of 73 players, perhaps, could be Knights going into after round 3. So it'd be really fascinating to see what the after round 3 numbers are there. Okay, now what was really interesting, World Eaters coming in at 16% of players. They've got the new codex out, and I think a lot of people want to test those new UKTC boards, get some sweet Hellbrood action. So good to see there. I think the Forge Fiends played nicely from outflank there as well. And then moving down, we've got 16 Blood Angels players. So if you take Marines and Blood Angels is 35, and if we go down, we've got Dark Angels, that'd be 46, and kind of teeters off after that. So roughly 46 players are Marine players as well. So Blood Angels coming at 16%. Notably, that is not as high as just normal Space Marines. Maybe there's some model restriction there, perhaps, but I would have thought Blood Angels would be a little bit more popular. But maybe people are a bit scared playing against Death Guard with Blood Angels, and maybe they're a bit worried about playing into Chaos Knights here as well. But Orcs is popular for some reason. Necrons and Tyranids, which are nowhere near as popular as I thought they were going to be. But typically, both Necrons and Tyranids are very popular in the UK. So it's a little bit interesting to see. Now, there's been a dramatically mixed reaction, I would say, about the Tyranid Subterranean Assault detachment. Everything from it is the best detachment in the game up into I just don't see how it wins. All the way up into how can you ever beat an army that has 6-inch deep strike? Honestly, the entire spectrum, which is really interesting. I had them in the top of B tier, I think, for our UK, for our faction tier list overall for singles, and we had them at the 7 and 8 slot for the team slot there as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's new models you would need to get to play that army. I found that my Tyranid collection didn't overlap particularly well, I would say, when moving to Subterranean. So maybe there's a bit of model lag there as well. Now, right down at the bottom, we've got Deathwatch with 1 player, Space Wolves with a couple, AdMech with 4, and no surprise here, really. We've got Grey Knights, Genestealer Cult, AdMech, Deathwatch, Black Templars, Space Wolves. Black Templars and Space Wolves waiting for their codexes, but the other four aforementioned armies, really armies that I think need to get picked up a little bit here. I mean, to be fair, you've also got Astra Militarum coming in at 2%. So I'll be interested to see the win percentage of Astra Militarum after the event here, because obviously we saw them do very well on WTC terrain. And I think what that is really it's a showcase of the player skill more than anything here, particularly because if you were to look at, say, this tournament, these are typically the players you would guess would be at the top here. So maybe it doesn't matter really what faction you're playing, so to speak. Okay, so taking a look at some of the lists here, you see we've got the Storm Raven here. So Josh is playing almost the same thing. Now he's got Bobby G, Manius, he's got Uriel plus a group of Sternguard, which is really cool. I really want to try that one out. Maybe there's some spice there with the Storm Raven, or just a straight up Deep Strike Vik can be really powerful as well. 3 Eradicators, 3 Hammer Strikes. Now, what I would say about this list is the Ultramarine Stormlance list, it doesn't have a lot of stuff, doesn't have a lot of chaff. So, I really want to figure it out, put this on the table, just see how it plays, because it does have the 3 Hammer Strikes, which are cheap kind of skirmishing units, but has it really got enough to threaten your opponent's expansion, for example? Who knows? We'll have to see. I'm sure Josh will do great on it. We've got Ben Jones playing Warhorde Orcs, and Ben Jones has been enjoying Orcs for a while. He's been playing it for quite a while. He was playing Mordaka a couple of months back when that was still very good. He's rocking 4 trucks, Gaz, 3 War Bosses, and 3 Breaker Boys with MSU. And, I guess in a lot of reality, that's got to be a reflection on the meta that we're in right now. with Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights being very popular, Death Guard being very popular, you're going to need a lot of anti-mech and high-quality, low-volume attacks here, especially as you want to get through stuff like Plague Marines and Discharge Terminators, etc. Finally, we've got Chris Radford, Blood Angels Liberator Assault Group. He's been working on this list for quite a bit, and I played him recently on it, and it did seem really strong. He's got 3x5 JPI, 2x5 Death Company with jump packs, 10 Death Company with Lamatis, 5 Infiltrators, 6 and 3 Sanguinary Guard with Dante and a Captain, and a Scout Squad, and he's got a bunch of other characters around there, like the Combat Lieutenant and stuff like that. So Chris has gone everything on the ground, no transports here, which is fascinating. This is a great army to push a big differential with, and if you go first and get into staging ruins, your game can be really devastating if you're going first and having a good game. Now, where the army can kind of suffer is if you've got a lot of trading pieces, they can kind of force them to trade a little bit early, but it still has the plays like Rapid Ingress. Some of these Death Company bricks and the Sangard bricks are still hard to kill despite that. So if you haven't got the right profiles for them, it can be really tough. It'd be really interesting to see how Chris does, especially into some of the tougher meta, like Death Guard. I don't know how Blood Angels does into that per se, Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights. So we'll look for the run that he has after the tournament. Okay, guys, that's been the kind of UKTC, well, not UKTC, but the UK scene in a bit of a wrap here. I'll look forward to seeing what the results are from this tournament, and hopefully next month or maybe the month after, I'll be able to attend one myself. And yeah, that's been a couple of great lists. Let us know what you think, and au revoir. Have a good one, guys.